School football tonight on PFR Scoreboard. Any surprises?
Yeah, the sectional started and we all wearing the same shirt.
There you go, finally.
Yeah. Well, everything's bound to happen. Well, forget about that. We'll have scores and highlights coming up next on PFR Scoreboard.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
PFR Scoreboard, scores and highlights coming up. Sudden death high school football. We start off at Valpo High, even though the Vikings were off tonight. It was Boone Grove hosting River Forest in Boone Grove's home field when the Vikings are not playing. It is River and Boone Grove, a game that River Forest kind of stole from them earlier in the season.
Yeah, they stole it from him, but tonight it was all Boone Grove.
Yeah, all Boone Grove defense, so it was tremendous this evening. Let's go to the highlights of the Wolves taking on River Forest. River Forest had scored, I think, a couple touchdowns late during the regular season. Not to be tonight. Dylan Paul and that defense got the job done, Tommy.
As a matter of fact, defense did it for a lot of teams. A bunch of shutouts tonight, as we'll show later on.
Oh, there's a great pick by River Forest, though, right out of the chute.
Well, there you go. Well, even when you lost, you still had some great defensive plays. But there was a block punt there, and I believe Boone Grove got the recovery, and that led them on to do bigger and better things as the night went on.
Braxton Van was the one who blocked that one, and I think when Boone Grove took it in to score.
Boone Grove has really improved this year from the beginning. There's Dylan Paul going in. He threw for a touchdown later on. Jake Myersky had a 60-yard interception return or touchdown late as a big play in that Boone Grove defense to keep the shutout going. But, River Forest, this was 14-0 for a long time. This was a very competitive football game. And the Ingots, who played well last week, played some good defense of their own tonight.
Yeah, but you look at the Boone Grove team, they're not exactly in the football business for a long period of time.
No.
And yet they have multiple offensive weapons that help them against that River Forest defense, which did play well tonight, but when you have that many weapons, it can only help you.
We've seen a lot of tackles out of bounds tonight. I mean, you can tell there's a chip on our shoulders here playing sectional football. You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
It's the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
There was the touchdown pass by Dylan Paul. And shutout victory for Boone, 21-0. They play at Roosevelt next Friday night. And, what's the early prognostication on that game?
My early what? My early pick on that game, obviously you don't go with mine because you know who I'm going to take. It's my alma mater. Not quite, Wayne, keep up. But no, that's going to be a really good football game because Roosevelt also has multiple weapons. They've got 3 guys in the top 12 in scoring in Northwest Indiana, so that's going to be a fun football game.
You got to wonder if Boone Grove, it seems like they've become a physical football team. That could be the difference.
That could
if
be.
they could pound on Roosevelt a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. That's stranger things have definitely happened this year. All right, let's go out to 5959 Broadway. Andrean taking on Hanover. Looked like the 59ers were a huge favorite, but this one was very close for a long time. In fact, I think it was 10-9 at halftime. Let's check out some of the highlights. Weather a little bit of a factor. What conditions? I guess Zach Merrill slipped in the end zone in the first half for a safety.
That made it 10-9.
That made it 10-9,
Yeah,
definitely. Andrean's offense struggled again tonight.
And Dre's offense struggled, but Hanover Central, I was impressed by the fact that they changed up their offense. They were a running team, and all of a sudden DeLange started throwing the ball a little bit.
Well, and they gave up a bunch of sacks. I think
Yes.
Andrean was close to 9 or 10 sacks defensively tonight.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is Hanover Central tried to run the football in the first half. It didn't work. Kevin Driscoll, our reporter on radio, mentioned that when DeLange and company started throwing the football, they had success, but when you throw the football, you leave yourself open to sacks.
Right, and you've got to pick up protections. There's some right here. You got to pick up protections, and then you're gonna try to blitz or try to get some. Here's Teely Ryan going straight up the middle for the touchdown through a gaping hole, but there wasn't a lot of gaping holes for Andrean offensively tonight.
Yeah, and that's impressive for Hanover Central because they're a smaller team. You would think that Andrean would have bowled them over, but that didn't happen in the second half.
Now we see Hanover moving the ball through the air.
That was plan B.
Yeah.
Plan A wasn't quite working.
Well, I like the strategy, though. I mean, they've connected on some passes here.
There's the home run.
Nice throw downfield off the fake.
Oh, nice catch.
Big tackle there to stop the receiver from going. Bad snap.
Bad
Potential field goal attempt nullified. It probably did take Andrean. There's a pick, too. It probably did take Andrean by surprise that they came out and threw the ball as much as they did.
Well, you had to because they were shutting down the run. But let us not forget that Mr. DeLange can throw the football, too.
Yeah. So Andrean moving forward. I mean, it was a nice win. Things still to work on. Obviously, West Lafayette looming, which would be a huge step up in competition.
Oh, huge step up.
Yeah.
But this was a nice win. You
Yeah.
moved on. You got the first game out of the sectional. First game of the sectional is always the toughest game because, your emotions are so high. And there's a slip that you talked about right there.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the Andrean coaches, from what we were told on the radio, not happy with their players. They had a little conversation, a one-way conversation. The coaches did all the talking. They were not happy with the way their team played against Hanover Central tonight.
Yeah, it seems like that's been an issue from time to time this year.
Oh, yeah. Chris Skinner had to change his offensive lineup.
That's right. That was last week, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
Yeah.
Well, Wheeler and Andrean next week, and that'll be big, a big game.
Yes, a big game.
For both teams to try to advance. So the Bearcats will be in on 59 Broadway to take on Andrean. All right, more highlights. Another matchup tonight in Hammond. East Chicago and the Morton Governors, and this one was a little salty as well. A big rivalry game from years past and sectional championships past between these two schools. Let's check out some of the action. We've talked all year long about Morton's defense, maybe not getting enough press, enough headlines about what a tremendous job they've done this year when they tossed another shutout tonight.
Well, you mentioned defense. I think both teams need to defend themselves from social media because there was a little bit of social media trash talking.
Oh, yeah.
One player got kicked out of this game. The officials had to get control of the game. Guys, leave the social media alone because you're playing Griffith next. You don't want to get them any madder than they are right now.
Here's a nice tackle for loss. East Chicago showing some defense as well. Countless penalties in this game on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was not a pretty game, but Morton did play well in the second half and started to open it up a little bit and started to get their rhythm a little bit.
And they've been rock solid defensively.
Yes.
Yeah, and give East Chicago credit because remember when they played in the regular season? It wasn't close.
No,
42-10, Morton.
Exactly, and Jay Novak, the coach of East Chicago, very calm before the game, so he knew his team would keep it close.
That might have been one of those personal foul penalties right there. We just saw throwing the player out of bounds, a couple yards out of bounds.
Yeah, that could do it.
Now, let's talk about next week. Morton at Griffith. From the reports I saw on Twitter, it seemed like Tavion Walker for Griffith might have been seriously injured tonight.
Oh, wow.
That's not good. If that's true, that's not good.
That's what was reported, that he was, I think, being helped off the field.
Wow.
Which that would be a severe blow to Griffith offensively, and then that changes their dynamic with having to move some players around. I think Fred Winston threw for over 200 yards tonight, but obviously you don't want to you lose one of your stars here in the postseason.
Yeah, Griffith normally has what? They're 4 deep when it comes to guys that can hurt you offensively.
Yeah. That
knocks it down to 3. And when you play Morton, and if it comes down to Lowell down the road, that's not good.
No. 27-0, another Morton shutout. They are at Griffith next Friday night. All right, let's go out to Highland. Gavitt thought they had a home game, but they did not. At Highland tonight, I guess the IHSAA rule is you have to have the 30-second clock to host a sectional game.
Remember Westside had that problem against Lowell a few years back? They got that 30-second clock up ASAP. So, yeah, you got to have one.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the highlights of the Highland Trojans, who have been coming on a little bit for Coach Greider. They got it done running the football and defense again tonight.
You know, Gavitt, Highland's defense really put pressure on Gavitt. And Gavitt has all season long struggled with turning the ball over. And that's what happened kind of tonight.
Yeah, they make a lot of mistakes, and they were allowed to get away with those against lesser teams. But when you get into the playoffs, that's not a good way to advance. You got to
nice run right there.
Yeah,
great run. Some outstanding camera work there too, coming down the near sideline. Highland defensively.
Defense.
And Gavin has put some nice numbers on the board in the second half of the season, but Highland would not allow that tonight. Give them credit.
Another
There's
nice
another
catch.
good run.
Pass and catch there,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
You know,
Who picked against Highland?
I believe you did. You could see in these highlights, Highland, as Mike Carey was saying with you guys on the radio, they run well, they play hard, they're running to the football on defense.
Yeah.
They got a guy wearing 27 at quarterback, which you got to like.
Oh, I love it. I was a big fan of John Hadle back in the day.
Yeah,
when he wore
you got to
21.
like that.
Yeah.
I love the over 20 number for your quarterback.
There you go, exactly.
It's got to be tough for Gavitt to be losing a home game, obviously, in the sectional.
Gavitt was 4-0 at home, 0-5 on the road. So losing a home game was big.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure the coaching staff's aware of that as well.
Yes.
Highland, what do you think next week? Obviously, they played Lowell earlier this year. They're, not going to be given much of a chance by the prognosticators.
Mm-hmm. No, but if they can play defense like they have the last time, they've been in ball games with their defense. They've had trouble with penalties that have stopped drives. So who knows if they can play with Lowell for 3 quarters and get into that 4th.
Well, I think you're right, because Lowell has at times struggled offensively.
Right.
So if they could defensively stay in the game for a while, I think that's something that got to be a strategy of some kind.
But the flip side is, can the Highland offense get it done against the Lowell defense? Can they get on the scoreboard multiple times? That is the telltale of this matchup.
Right. Well, nobody has.
And there's your answer.
You're gonna have to play for a turnover or some kind of break.
Exactly.
Definitely, to try to, maybe work the field position somehow and get a short field of some kind.
And that's got to happen multiple times.
Yeah.
Hope Highland has a kicker.
Yeah,
that could be a
might
factor.
be recruiting one as well this week. Let's check out the scores on the scoreboard. Remember, 6A and 5A with the night off. They'll be back in action next Friday night. Griffith 55-0 over Hammond High. Lowell another shutout, 41-0 for the Red Devils over Westside. Elsewhere, it was the Prairie, 56-0 over South Bend.
They just keep on putting up points on the board. But they've
New
got
Prairie's on a roll. New Prairie's, they got big goals.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
They have big goals. They got a big game. Mishawaka, 71-0 over Clay.
Wow.
Mishawaka bounced back after that drubbing
they did.
against Penn
That's right.
last week. So Mishawaka and New Prairie, a big one next week. Riley knocks off KV. And South Bend St. Joe's continues with their mastery over Hobart. Ehrlich was back at quarterback tonight, but Hobart did not score till very late in this football game. St. Joe got on the board with a couple field goals early, and then was able to put a couple touchdowns on the board as well.
Hey, Wheeler has played well, tonight, and they've got a tough one, Wheeler, next week.
And Andrean Calumet had the lead early in this game, but Twin Lakes came back to win 43-20. We talked about West Lafayette. They are something else.
They
They're
are
machine
a level
right
above.
now.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Probably the odds-on favorite to win the state title in 3A, all over Benton Central tonight. Elsewhere, on the scoreboard, Knox beat Fairfield 49-7. So Knox is hosting Mishawaka Marion, who won 8-0 tonight. That's next week. The Velt 52-6 over Bishop Knoll. An impressive offensive performance by the Velt tonight.
Very impressive performance, but let us not forget it was against Knoll. And with all due respect to Knoll, they have not won a game this year. They don't have the numbers, but still you have to be happy if you're a Panther fan.
Yeah, I think so, because Bishop Knoll was very competitive last week against Lake Station.
That's right.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, against Lake Station, they won by 2, but Lake Station is struggling this year too. But that being said, Roosevelt, I'm very happy with what they've done.
Well,
so
and
far
I
this
think
season.
that might be a matchup next week, Roosevelt-Boone Grove, where you probably got to throw those Sagarin ratings out.
Exactly.
Because Roosevelt has played a lot of teams that are not that great, so they've probably called the dogs off a little from time to time. They did not tonight, so we'll see how competitive they are with a physical, defensive-oriented Boone Grove team.
The quickness of Roosevelt versus the physicality of Boone Grove is going to be interesting.
It will be. It will be.
I'm sorry, I can't throw the second ratings out.
Yeah. At least on that one, Wayne. 66-0. Rensselaer over Taylor. Rensselaer is hosting number 1 Eastbrook next Friday night at Rensselaer. That might have Chuck DeMoss written all over it. I
Yes,
don't know.
it might.
Winnemac, 28. South Central stormed back. I think they were
Yes,
down
they did.
28-0. Scored with a minute to go to close it to 28-20. Recovered the onside kick, but were unable to score late in that game. Triton over Caston. Culver over West Central. The Jays shut out by LaVille. And that's our scores.
Yep,
We
those
got
are the
our
scores.
game of the night coming up. It was North Newton and Whiting. You were out there this week, Tommy. Big revenge battle for North Newton. And it didn't appear that Tommy Davenport was 100% healthy for Whiting tonight, which was going to be a big advantage for
The information we got was that Davenport did not play a whole lot of the second half. But it was a double revenge thing for North Newton. Number 1, they had lost to these guys in the playoffs last year. Number 2, we interviewed the coach. He had not forgotten what I did with the umbrella last year.
Yeah, I know, definitely. So, hey,
And so he got...
lucky for him it was sunny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but lucky for both of us.
Let's go to the highlights of our game of the night. The Spartans. I think Doug Knutson, it was back to the ages of Doug Knutson when they had probably 2 over 500 seasons in a row, I would think.
Right, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's been a while.
It has been a long time.
And this clinches it for him tonight.
This is Barbarossa, I think, going down the near sidelines, getting into the end zone for 6. But Colt Wagner was
He had a great
on a
night
roll
run-
tonight.
he had a great
some
night running
speed,
the ball.
some quickness through the hole, some agility.
I just like that name, Colt
Oh, yeah,
Wagner.
he's definitely on the all-name
There
team.
you go, no doubt. And he's got a brother on the team, too.
And
so yeah.
he's got some game, too. It's just not the name. He's got some game.
Oh, no doubt.
Over 140 yards, I think, rushing tonight. But look a little lowlish there. Pitch right, pitch
Right.
left. Barbarossa again, who had to pick up the slack of carrying the football. He's got some speed as well. They went back and forth with touchdowns in this game. Then I think North Newton did not get the 2-point conversion on their first touchdown. Whiting had an 8-6 lead. North Newton took the lead. Whiting tied it at 20, and then North Newton scored, or tied it at 14. North Newton scored and then held on. Whiting had the ball at midfield in the closing seconds, but turned it over on a 4th and 10.
And give Whiting credit for going as far as they did without their best guy, Tommy Davenport. But after a while, you're going up against a team who has a red-hot running back like Wagner. it's awfully hard to hang in
I
there.
think Chuck said that North Newton did not attempt to pass at all tonight.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's something. They didn't need to, though. They were running the football well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no Tommy John surgery for their quarterback after
Yeah.
this one, no doubt.
Nice draw the opposite way there after some misdirection. They got 3 guys carrying the football.
North Newton has a really good defense, too. Boy,
They- yeah.
they have really played well in
Coach
the last
Kane
part of
alluded
the
to that
season.
yesterday. They played tremendous defensive football.
Yep.
They run into the ball.
So now it's going to be North Newton taking on Lake Station, who has the bye. This is going to be interesting coming up because we were looking ahead. So North Newton's going to be home 2 weeks in a row, which means that they'll probably, more than likely, be on the road for the sectional championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So Boone Grove may have to find a home field for a tilt if they beat Roosevelt,
That's right.
or a sectional championship game. So that might be homework for the athletic director there.
Yeah, exactly. What happens if Roosevelt wins that game? Because you know I had to throw that scenario
I think
in there.
then they will be at home
They'll
because
be
I
at home
believe
3
Roosevelt
straight times? Roosevelt?
was home tonight.
They were home tonight.
And it's going to depend on who's on the top of the bracket then.
Yeah, actually, I
Bottom
just
bracket.
wanted to make sure that I threw out what if Roosevelt. I just wanted to say what if Roosevelt won. You know, just get that in
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
All right. You don't know whether they were home tonight or not.
All I care is that they won. But they were at home tonight, yes.
How did they do against Westside this year?
They won. No, just kidding.
Well, sorry, you know how to get that one. 20-14, Northern over Whiting. Let's look at our keys to the game. It was Cole Wagner. He came up big tonight, but so did the other ball carriers
Right.
off of Cole Wagner's running plays. Whiting not 100% healthy, but at this point of the year, a lot of teams aren't. Right?
That's right. That's right. And you got players that have to step up. And certainly North Newton had this written down all year long, boy. Last year they lost 21-12, I think, against Whiting.
Yeah.
So you
But,
know they were
they-
looking for this game.
Yeah. At home, revenge, no
Right.
doubt. Lost last year, no doubt.
All right. So North Newton hosting Lake Station, Boone Grove at Roosevelt in 2A. All right, let's take another quick look at the scoreboard, get you all the scores again in Northwest Indiana. 5A, 6A with the week off. They're back at it next week. Morton shuts out East Chicago. Griffith shuts out Hammond. We got Lowell and Highland also with shutouts tonight. Yeah, boy, popular. Shutouts are popular.
Yeah.
5 straight.
Yeah.
New Prairie and Mishawaka shutting the people out.
And that was after Penn put 58 on Mishawaka
I know.
last week. Riley big over KV.
South Bend St. Joe,
Yeah.
4th time in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're only 3 and 6. Well, 4 and 6 now, but
Yeah, right.
They just own Hobart for whatever reason.
And they may play for week 10 over there, I think. You know, Wheeler 45-14 over Clark, and Duran 26-9 over Hanover Central. 43-20 for Twin Lakes. West Lafayette 79-7. Elsewhere on the board, Class 3A, Knox 49-7.
What a great season Knox has had.
Yeah.
You know, 9-1 on the year.
And home with a winnable game next week
Yes.
against Mishawaka Marion.
Yes.
It's not the same Mishawaka Marion from last year.
No, it certainly is not.
Yeah, they lost a lot of players to graduation.
Well, let me ask both of you guys this question. Is Knox one of those teams that it's Indianapolis or bust, or
No.
I don't think so. I think winning a trophy for their program would be huge if
Yes.
they win a section.
Yes.
okay?
And then
Yeah.
getting as deep as they can, because they're still kind of in the building. You know, they had a really solid year last year, have gotten better again this year. So I think they're continuing to build their program. Obviously, I think they want a sectional championship, yeah.
Okay.
Whiting falling North Newton, Boone Grove, and Roosevelt next Friday night in a big 2A sectional showdown. All right, 5A and 6A, as we see the 1A scores next week. What big games do you guys think of? Michigan City, Munster?
Well, Penn and Valpo for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah.
a rematch. Here you see LaVille winning, Culver winning. A rematch of Week 1. Still no word about health of quarterbacks over there at Valpo, but
Don't expect to hear anything either.
yeah, I don't think
You're
so.
going to keep it secret. It's none of our business.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll probably hear anything. Either way, that they'll be solid at quarterback one way or the other. But obviously, Penn coming in looking for some revenge against the Vikings next Friday. And Valpo's played through injuries all season long. They've had a tremendous amount of injuries.
But that matchup concerns me. If you're Valparaiso,
It does me
you
too, yeah.
beat Penn regular season, you celebrated like you won a sectional championship, and now you got to go up against a team that has revenge on their mind, and we've seen how that revenge card
I
played
like
today.
Valpo getting a week off. I like that.
I
I,
do
think
too.
that's going to
Yeah.
help them. Injury-wise, get a week off.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll see you Thursday night for another edition of PFR on Lakeshore PBS.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?